If you look at your screen right now, President Trump is walking into the Beast, as his presidential limousine is known. He's arrived in Kenner, Louisiana. He will in short order be heading to New Orleans, where he will be speaking at a farmers event. This is big public comments. I'm sure we'll have more from that later in the show. Actually, next show, I think. We only got about 5 minutes left. And in those 5 minutes, let's address something that's actually rather important. Steve King, how about you go ahead and call your office? The Iowa Republican congressman who has a history of making racial, inflammatory, and controversial remarks has been summoned to an important meeting with House GOP leader Kevin McCarthy today, following his remarks in the New York Times in which he questioned, quote, white nationalist, white supremacist, Western civilization. How did that language become offensive? Those comments continue to be rebuked by just about everyone over the weekend, but many want action. Now, McCarthy says his meeting with the 9-term congressman will be about just that.
That language has no place in America. That is not the America I know, and it's most definitely not the party of Lincoln.
Should he be
I have a scheduled meeting with him on Monday, and I will tell you this. I've watched on the other side that they do not take action when their members say something like this. Action will be taken. I'm having a serious conversation with Congressman Steve King on his future and role in this Republican Party. I will not stand back as a leader of this party, believing in this nation that all are created equal, that stands or continues to stand and have any role with us.
So let's go ahead and lay out what some of the options could be as you see the president right now. It looks like he's walking over to greet some of the people who are waiting for him at the airport. But I want to talk about this because this is important. There are things that Congress can do. You can take him off committees. If you look over the course of history, there's reprimands used about 10 members of history of Congress, censure used about 23 times in Congress, expulsion another option. But this is not new for Congressman Steve King. Anybody who's been covering Capitol Hill for any number of years knows that this is actually a fairly regular occurrence. You know the House Republicans better than anybody. Is something actually going to happen or change this time?
I mean, TBD at this point. We can say that the reaction from McCarthy is definitely stronger than what we've seen him do before. Just a couple weeks before the election, King was saying additional racist comments, and we saw the leader of the House Republican campaign arm, Steve Stivers, push back on him and rebuke him on Twitter. And Stivers actually, some top Republicans were not happy with him for doing that right before a midterm election. And now we're seeing these comments again, and King, again, has a long history of making these sorts of remarks, and McCarthy is reacting. I understand that he is not going to be asked to step down in this meeting with McCarthy, but there are a number of options depending on how he reacts. Does he come out and apologize? And, one of the things Democrats talking about censure, some Republicans would like to see that move forward, but I don't know if McCarthy himself would support something like that. I'm just not sure at this point.
And I want to draw attention to something. There's a National Review editorial on this where it says, quote, it'd be better if Republicans police their own and the NRCC made clear it won't back King in a primary or a general election in 2020. King may be clumsy, dangerous, bigoted, or some mix of the three. Whatever he is, he doesn't deserve the support of conservatives. He now has a primary challenger. People have been talking, Jeb Bush was talking about perhaps donating to his primary challenger. Does that become the outlet here, and is that enough?
Well, it's unclear right now whether the party leadership will begin supporting his challenger. Like, typically, Republican campaign arms have a tradition of supporting incumbents, and that policy, that general tradition, is really going to be put to the test now that Steve King does have a primary challenger that's condemning the congressman's rhetoric. It's a question we'll be asking the chairman, Tom Emmer, in the coming days. But again, I do want to emphasize that his comments, as reprehensible as they are nothing new. But it's just this pushback coming back so fiercely from the Republican Party that has been remarkable to watch. We talked about Leader McCarthy's comments. You talked about Joni Ernst, who is Congressman King's senator, saying these comments are racist, that they do not represent the state of Iowa. And again, Tim Scott, the only African-American senator, Republican senator, writing a very forceful opinion piece condemning those remarks.
Yeah, Senator Scott's op-ed, I think, seemed to open the floodgates. People taking a posture on this that perhaps they hadn't taken any of the dozen or so times we've seen something like this before. All right, that's all the time we have. Great panel, as always. Thanks for joining us on Inside Politics. Brianna Keeler starts right now.